17 April, the year is 1980. The eve of Zimbabwe's independence from colonial rule. The whole nation is filled with excitement and joy.
What we want now is unity. Since everything is over, I'm very glad bloodshed is now ended. And I hope everybody, part and parcel of this country, is going to follow the next government.
Finally, the dream of an inclusive Zimbabwe is being realized. But down the line, 43 years later, we look back. We look back at the promises, the hopes and the expectations.
In the jobs, we'll be having equal jobs, equal money.
We look back at the sacrifices made by those who fought for the liberation of Zimbabwe.
We want a good and free country to live in.
And what else?
Jobs, good houses, better pay, and things like that.
We look back with sadness, anger and sorrow at what Zimbabwe has become. We agonize at how the nation has become the complete opposite of what it promised to the majority.
We want full and unfettered democracy.
We are saddened at how the concept of rechristianed, which drove many into the battlefields, has been bastardized by a few who are enjoying the fruits of the country's vast resources whilst many suffer. To give it a better perspective, we visit Murewa in Kangara, where 42 freedom fighters died fighting for a free Zimbabwe. We ask ourselves, is this the land?
But we are here in Murewa, particularly in Kankara, where we are remembering the lives of 42 people who were massacred, 7 guerrillas from the Zandla forces, including the legs of Big, the legs of Comrade Danger, the legs of Comrade Takaite, and the 35 collaborators who they were working with, who were killed, who were massacred on the 14th of May, 1979, just a year before independence. They made sacrifices for the independence of this republic. They shared the great vision of the Liberation Promise. What was the Liberation Promise? The Liberation Promise was anchored, it was three-dimensional. There was the political question, where we were looking at the state-society relations, the governed and those who govern. We wanted one man, one vote. We wanted each and every citizen to have the right to be voted into office and the right to vote others into office. We wanted each citizen to enjoy fundamental political rights, freedom of association and assembly. We are against the deployment of state to victimize political opponents, where at that time mainly black people. But there was also the issue of the dimension of the relationship between the state and the citizens with regards to economic development. We were against the fact that only white people had the levers to the means of production. The land was in the hands of white people. But the demand, the Liberation Promise, was that we are going to have Gutsara Ujinji, where each and every Zimbabwean, whether black or white, they were going to enjoy equal access to the opportunities of this great republic. But also thirdly, and most importantly, there was the issue of social services, where we were complaining that the majority of our people had no access to education. We're complaining against the bottleneck system, which excluded the majority of our black people from progressing with their education. And we wanted a healthcare which was inclusive and accessible to everyone. We're complaining that housing should be available for all citizens, not only the white people. We said we wanted a dignified life, and people like Comrade Biggie, Comrade Danger went to the liberation struggle for that, pursuing that liberation promise that we want an inclusive Zimbabwe, anchored pagwara regutsaruzhinji, munhu wese achidya, munhu wese aine kodzero rekusarudza vatungamiriri vake. Yeah, now 43 years we ask the important question, is this the land that Comrade Takaite fought for? When Comrade Takaite went to war, he was fighting for an inclusive economy where land should be in the hands of the majority. But we are told, Comrade Wadzungaira, that 45,000 are about to be evicted in Chirezi right now, and the land is going to be given back to white people. But even our mineral wealth, Comrade Danger, the gold that we still have in this country is now in the hands of a few. Even comrades like Zobo would clearly say, we do not want to live in a society where we barricade our homes during the night, afraid of our own state. But this is now the same situations, comrades. Comrade Chaka, a situation where when you go to sleep, We have been told of people who are being abducted from their homes because they share a different view from the status view. We have seen how the Electoral Commission have even hiked nomination fees to as much as $20,000, barring all those with little resources from participating in the election. But we believed in one man, one vote. So as comrades, the struggle that you fought remains, but under a different picture and context. We now have a few black people who now own the republic. So we transferred power from a minority white elite to a minority black elite. Comrades, if you are going to look at our education system, we will tell you with authority, comrades, that only those who have money today are accessing our education. In 2021, 50% of our people failed to write public examinations. The public examinations are losing credibility because the exams are leaking. There are little resources dedicated to them. The healthcare system has collapsed. As little as paracetamol is not there in our hospitals. Promise. No, we say no and we reject it. We say we want a Zimbabwe where political freedoms for all are respected, where each political party is allowed to contest freely. So going forward, as Crisis in Zimbabwe Coalition, our demand is simple. We demand a Zimbabwe for the many, not for a few. In our politics, those who govern should always derive their legitimacy from the people. Economically, we still believe that the economy should save the many, not a few. Our wealth should be owned, enjoyed by the majority of our people, not by mafias and a few who are in corridors of power. The state should fully assume the responsibility of funding basic education as envisioned by the Constitution. We also want each and every citizen to enjoy right to health care without any hindrance. We want housing to be available for all people. We want water and other amenities to be available for all people. We demand that Zimbabwe institute a wealthy tax to ensure that those who have enriched themselves by exploiting the majority of our people can now be forced to contribute towards our social services, so that no citizen should be found wanting of any basic needs at a time where we're supposed to celebrate our independence. The 43rd independence of our people should be more like a referendum, where Zimbabweans, when they go to the polls in July or August this year, they should make it clear whether they want a Zimbabwe for a few or a Zimbabwe for the many.
Things are not changing. They should change for our future generation and our generation as well.